Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz Interview Series with tenor saxophonist Rich Halley on his 2020 CD, The Shape of Things. We caught up with him shortly after the release of the album on November 4th, 2020. He's an artist that plays what he likes, and most of what he likes are his own compositions. He opens up about the recording, the pandemic, and more. Enjoy.
Thanks for sending the music. Thanks for taking a minute out. Talk to me about releasing an album during a pandemic. What's that been like?
You know, it's been more difficult than I anticipated, actually. I had the album basically completed about the beginning of March, certainly in the earlier part of March. And we had all the mix and all that stuff had been done earlier. And the graphics were all completed and everything. And so I was going through a small company here in Portland, and they sent it to a company that was in California that did the pressing of the CDs, the replication, and that company was closed because of COVID. They actually closed the thing down for at least a couple of months. It might have been even a little longer. So basically, we couldn't do anything. You know, I had everything done, and there was no place to create the actual discs. So I had to wait until they were processing again. And then once they did start processing again, they had a backup, and it took quite a while for them to actually get to it and get it finished. So I didn't actually get CDs until, basically the beginning of the summer. And then there was some other issues having to do with wanting to get all the press stuff set up and ready to send out and so on, and I get some help from Ann Braithwaite, and she was really busy because she didn't have any interns because of COVID, because they couldn't all work in an office. So she was backed up too. So anyhow, all these things basically pushed out the process, so it probably took 4 or 5 months longer than it would have otherwise.
Are you happy now? Are you relieved that it's out?
Yeah, I'm glad to get it out, and but it felt like it was a tough slog trying to get through the various hurdles to actually get the physical CDs completed and get everything out there. And there's a number of companies that I've dealt with, and all these companies seem to have various kinds of COVID impacts that mean that they're not as heavily staffed as they normally are, and they don't work at the same speed that they normally work at, and so on. So everything just took longer. It's kind of like slogging through the mud in hip boots a little bit.
You know, we've been doing this for a while now, and when we do return, when the musician gets back in the audience, what do you hope we realize about this absence of live music?
Oh, man, just to appreciate it when it comes back, because I'm a real believer in live music. I like putting out the recordings, obviously, because I'm able to reach a much larger audience than I am otherwise. But I really like to play live with other musicians. And I know people do streaming stuff, and that's okay, but it's still not the same as the interaction you get with a live audience. So I think it's going to be really wonderful when we can do that. And hopefully that'll be, sometime in the middle of next year is kind of what I'm hoping for at this point.
So when somebody either downloads or buys this new album, what do you want them to get from this experience? What do you ultimately want them to feel from what created?
Oh, everybody's going to get something different because they hear through their own ears, which are unique to every different person. But I would just hope that they get feeling from what we're doing, and to get the feel of the emotions and the intent and the intensity and the nuances and the subtlety of us as we play together, interacting. I would hope that comes through, I guess.
Rich, thank you. Thank you again for the music. I really did enjoy the album, and good luck with everything. The return, I can't wait for you guys to get back on stage.
Yeah, that'd be really great. Well, thanks you for keeping up and keeping on with what you're doing, because it is tough, I know. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview. We give you a bit of insight into the finest players in California, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Rich for his time, music, and story. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.